The Israelites' actions that provoked Moses put Moses to death. The second stroke on the rock was Moses without him knowing it. Hello, welcome to another episode of The Weeping Prophet by Sister Philomena. Today I will be looking at the topic, why did God kill Moses? Or you might say, why did God punish Moses with death? Moses is a very great name associated with the Israelites. The circumstance surrounding his birth, upbringing, and was adopted by the daughter of a pharaoh. He was raised in a king's palace, showed that he was not just the son of a Hebrew woman pulled out of or from water. He was destined to be the first Israelite leader. He was the man who wrote an everlasting history in Egypt and in Israel. The story of the exodus of Israelites from Egypt is not complete without Moses. He was also the man who wrote the Ten Commandments. He showed the Christians what it means to be the mouthpiece of God. Through him, God did a maneuver on the Egyptian magicians before dealing with them. Through his obedience to the instructions given to him, the Israelites crossed the sea. Things were going on fine. There the Israelites saw how big, great, and strong our God is. Everyone was happy. Then God started rolling out laws, rules, and regulations. What to celebrate, what to eat, how to prepare it, what to give to God, the way to worship God, the feast to celebrate, and how to celebrate it. These laws or regulations, we are not given to them at the same time. God gave them the laws and regulations one after the other. Sometimes due to the conflict that arose between them. And that is when the problem started. That is exactly when the disrespect for Moses and murmuring against him started. To crown it all, Moses, on the other hand, couldn't take the Israelites' stubbornness anymore. But he, Moses, should have known better. No one fights for God. God fights his battle alone. No matter the number of the oppositions, no one fights God and wins. Moses allowed himself to lose focus by the ignorance and stubbornness and foolishness of the Israelites. Moses offended God because the Israelites provoked him through their ill behaviors. He, Moses, disobeyed God before the congregation. If you're a real child of God who worship God in spirit and in truth, you will realize that when it comes to serving God, there is law and there is order. God loves it when we obey him and do as we are told. Where we have doubts, we should ask questions for clarification. God told him, speak to the rock to bring out water. Moses hit the rock twice. Before I became saved, before I became a real Christian who worship God in spirit and in truth, I will say to myself, that was not too serious. There are people who commit a more serious atrocity than what Moses did. Why didn't God just forgive him? He led the Israelites out of Egypt. God would have allowed him to enter the land that flows with milk and honey. My dear brothers and sisters, God visited me and left a wonderful note on me. And since then, I thank God for his mercies upon a sinner like me. The fact that Moses was frustrated by the Israelites was clear. They questioned God. They questioned Moses. They questioned his leadership. The real reason why God punished Moses with death is not solely because he disobeyed God, but because what Moses did was a mystery, which neither the Israelites nor Moses at that particular time understood. That mystery was Jesus. Jesus' blood, which we drank every time we take the Holy Communion. He asks us to do it in his memory. They did not grab this mystery because the time was not yet right. When you go to the first book of Corinthians 10:3-4, it says, all ate the same spiritual bread and drank the same spiritual drink. They drank from the spiritual rock that went with them, and that rock was Jesus Christ himself. All those times, Jesus was with them. They were celebrating him without knowing what they were doing. The killing of a baby lamb without defect and using the blood to put on the doorpost. The purification with blood before the priest will go to the most inner room in the tent. In Egypt, they celebrated already the death of Christ for them to be saved. Then when you go to the book of Exodus 17:6, let me read it out. He say, I will stand before you on a rock at Mount Sinai. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink. Moses did so in the presence of the leaders of Israel. Jesus, the Holy One, followed the Israelites all along, all this while, along their journey from Egypt. They celebrated him without even knowing what they were doing. Let me support this with Bible verse. The book of Exodus 12:5. The killing of 1-year-old lamb without defect. Verse 7. The people had to take some of the blood and put it on the doorpost and above the doors of their house. Verse 8-9. The eating of the meat from the lamb, roasted whole without separation of the body, not cooked or boiled, but roasted whole, including the head, the legs, and the internal organs. With the above actions, they celebrated the Eucharist, as the Catholic will call it. Some others say the Holy Communion. Then it was called the Passover feast. But in the New Testament, and exactly on the face of the Passover, Jesus instituted the Holy Communion and commanded us to do it always in his memory. Verse 14 says, you must celebrate this day as a religious festival to remind you of what I, the Lord, has done. Celebrate it for all time to come. I hope you're following. This is verse 14 of Exodus 12. It's telling us what Jesus told us in the New Testament when he said, celebrate, do this in his memory. Meaning what? Jesus is trying to make clear to us what Exodus 12 verse 14 is telling us to do. What God told us there to do. So back to the killing of, let me support it again with another verse. Let us go to the book of John 19:34. It was also destined for Jesus to be pierced once, not twice. Let me read it direct from the Bible so that you will understand better. John 19:34. One of the soldiers, however, plucked his spear into Jesus' side, and at once blood and water poured out. So, back to the killing of Moses. Jesus was planned to die once, only once, and not twice. Moses hitting the rock, which he didn't know represented Jesus twice, was a very grave sin. It was more than the eyes can see, and that made God annoyed. That action of Moses took place spiritually without him knowing. That was why I say that was a mystery which Moses and the Israelites did not understand at that point. So, the Jesus that followed them all this while has to, or let's say, must manifest in the era of the New Testament. Why? Because Moses fell and could no longer deliver. That disobedient action of Moses is sadly still carried out by us. We are still crucifying Jesus anytime we sin. We crucify him again and again. The twice hitting of the rock, we represented Jesus by Moses, have a spiritual symbol, and I will say it again and again. And it became effective immediately Moses did it. It means Jesus will be killed. That was the first strike or the first hitting. Then the second means Moses will also be killed. Why? Because Moses never knew that he was representing Jesus on earth at that time in point. So the striking of the two was him. He didn't know that he was killing himself. That was why God was angry. So God did not kill Moses. But Moses did not understand at the time did not understood the mystery behind what he did. So I will say Moses replaced the second death with his own life because Jesus was destined to die only once. And while Moses was representing Jesus, then he has to die. So, you now see, God did not just kill him. He shared the same fate with Jesus. Jesus was supposed to die once, as I said before, and not twice. Moses replaced the death with his life. Remember that Moses hit the rock before. Remember that. There was once a place where the Bible says he hit the rock once and water came out of it, meaning the death of Jesus for mankind. The last instruction says, speak to it, means at his name all our requests and wishes will be answered. That is what God's Spirit revealed about the death of Moses to me. That is it from Sister Philomena. Please subscribe, invite your friends and lovers of God, share and win souls for God. God bless you.